Welcome to Business Blurb You and the Dropouts podcast. My name is Brendan Cox, and I'm here with my co-host Devin Caherly.
Yo, what's up, guys?
If it's your first time listening in, we cover unique yet successful entrepreneurs every single week, so make sure to subscribe to stay in the loop. Today we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Louis Shank. He's the founder of Boost Media Agency, a nationally recognized public relations company that caters to helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers getting featured in the news. Thanks for coming on today, Louis.
No, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And he's in Australia, just so the viewers know. I'm sure, as you could tell from his accent. But yeah, let's hop right into this. So you own a PR agency, essentially. How did you get into all this PR and working with clients all over the country?
Yeah, good question. So, I went to college in America, so I had a pretty good network over there. One of my buddies who lives in Canada, he was actually a sales representative for another company in the PR world based in the US. And so I have also owned an events company. And so it was probably 12 or so months, maybe 15 months ago now. That my mate got me a sales kind of gig there. I was helping him out. And I really saw the value. So I had no idea about PR. And I kind of saw the value in what they were doing. And I was like, damn, I really think I could do it better than these people are doing. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And then, it's been nonstop since then.
Where did you go to college?
So I went to college in a town called Hutchinson, Kansas. So about 30,000 people there. It's a really good JUCO though. So we had Alvin Kamara, my first year, who won the Rookie of the Year in the NFL 2 years ago. The football team there was amazing. I played golf, so it was we had a solid golf team. We were ranked maybe 6th in the nation in JUCO. Yeah, so I did 2 years there. Then I transferred to a D1 in Ohio, and things, long story short, didn't work out there. It was just the NCAA weren't very helpful in getting my eligibility sorted, and I left after maybe 2 or 3 months.
So you went to college. You only went to college in the U.S., so you just came to the U.S. for college?
Correct, yeah. So I went in August 2014. So I did 2 years at junior college in Kansas, and then I did two months in Ohio, which kind of ended at the end of 2016.
That's pretty. Did you get to travel around the U.S. at all, or no?
Oh yeah. Well, we did a lot around the Midwest just because that was where our conference was. But we traveled to Florida for nationals. I did a couple trips with my family when they came over. I wish I got to travel the East Coast when we were in Ohio, but long story short, the NCAA, because I took a gap year after I finished school in Australia, year 12. I think you guys will probably know that you can't, if you've been out of school for more than a year or something, it affects your eligibility. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had to do all these checks that I didn't play professional golf in that time, which I clearly didn't. And it took so long. I missed the whole season. And then the tipping point was someone got robbed at gunpoint in the dorm building next to me in the middle of the day. And I'm like, I'm out of here.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, you said you had an events company, which I saw. I was just looking up some of your stuff. Did that get hit hard with the pandemic? Because events are kind of out of the question right now.
Yeah, man, it did hard. We had a ton of bookings lined up for the year, and it was a shitty 2 weeks for just refunding deposits and having all these cancellations. Some of them just transferred their booking a year, by a year, but a lot of them just straight up cancelled. The fortunate thing about that company is that we have very little overheads. So obviously, wasn't making money from it, but wasn't losing money. And so now I have a guy who's just literally in the last week just bought into the company. So he's going to be, running that full time, and he's a real go-getter and he's super passionate. So I'm keen to see where he can take it.
That's cool. So what is that? Mostly weddings, or is it smaller events or corporate stuff?
Good question. So the term here in Australia is called Hen Nights. So it's a bachelorette party.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
It's the way I got into it was basically another quick story here. I was living in Melbourne, Australia. I was currently at uni, and I saw this ad on Facebook for it was to be honest, it was topless waiting, right? And I've always gone to the gym, and I was like, it's good pay. It's like $70 an hour, which you're not going to really get in many jobs as like a uni student, right? And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. These guys that I was working for, they ended up building this, it's like now it would be an 8-figure business. But yeah, like they wanted to sell me the business, the Hens Night one that I was running for them. They ended up like, having me operate it for them so they could do the new thing. And I was like, man, they were trying to straight up rip me off. And then that kind of like ruined that whole relationship. And, they didn't pay me for like 3 months of running their business. It was pretty stressful. But yeah, so I started my own. It's very interesting. It's a fun job though for a lot of guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into like the power of press a little bit, because Devin and I have obviously both seen like that with our personal brands and Business Blurb too. But let's just talk about that a little bit. Well, first of all, how did we get in touch? I can't even remember. Do you?
Yeah, I think it was something to do with Disrupt. Like you DM me.
That's right. It was
Disrupt.
Disrupt.
That's when we connected. Yeah.
All right, cool. So so when you're pitching a client, or I guess, do you find your clients or and like reach out to people, or are they mostly coming to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I mean, we do a lot of outreach. This is part of like our our process and systems is like growing as a company. But like, I mean, the more people that we've worked with, we get like a ton of referrals. Like, this one client literally in the last 2 days referred 2 people to me. So yeah, it's cool to see. Like, I'm sure you probably know in business as well, is like the more people that you serve and like do a good job for, they're just going to bring more people to you. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a combination of both. Having systems in place for connecting with people, telling them a bit about us, learning more about what they do, and then also like the people that we've worked with, then yeah, referring us more people.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's interesting. And yeah, word of mouth is obviously huge with any business, but I feel like especially in like the PR and just like this type of thing, there's so many options. So it's like when you have a good experience with somebody, it's like, oh wow, like I'm definitely gonna refer them.
Exactly. Like I think when I like you and I both know that when you start something new, you have you might know what you're doing, but in terms of like customer relations and stuff like that, and client like success and happiness, like when I started out, like I wasn't probably delivering it as good as I can. But then as you kind of go on, you progress, you learn. It's like, okay, how can I make this experience as good as possible? And the second I started thinking about that, like more people kept getting referred because like you treat the customers that you have really well, and I think like long term it'll definitely kind of pay itself back, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, and there's so like even for some reason my Instagram, I don't really like use PR really too much, but I always am getting these ads like from Dylan Kivo and all these people, and I just like, how do you said obviously like the customer experience has to be good. How do you compare with these other companies? Like, what are you doing different that they're referring you or they're coming back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't like to look at people as like competition. I always just think I'm just trying to do what we do better.
Mm-hmm.
But the one standout thing is the quality of writing, right? Like a lot of these companies will literally outsource their writing and pay someone like less than $5 to write this article. And like I've experienced that firsthand. And like I got this article back and I was like, is this person kidding me? Like I was never like the best writer in the world. Like I'm half decent. I do a bunch of like writing and blogging and stuff. But man, I was like wowed with how terrible it was. So, I've been like trying and testing probably like 15 different, writers over the last 12 months. But now we've got a good team of like 5, and this new guy I got, he is like outstanding. Like every client that we've sent the articles to, like this girl that she was like sending crying emojis, like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. And I think that is like what it's all about, right? You really make sure that these people are super happy with it rather than cutting your costs to be like, okay, here's your article, and like, oh shit, I hate it. Can you change all this stuff? Because it just causes more headaches for you, less of a good experience for the client. So just like, yeah, the biggest thing right off the bat would definitely be the quality of writing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting because Devin and I had that not same problem, but like when we were first starting Business Blurb, we didn't have like contributors just contributing. We actually had to like hire people, and obviously we're not paying these like $100,000 a year Forbes salaries. So we we were kind of in the same space, and it's hard to find writers that like you don't have to go back to 8 times and say like, what is this? So that's definitely an interesting concept. And yeah, sometimes it's worth paying a little bit more to just like know that you're getting something decent instead of I'm just gonna have to like rewrite this entire thing pretty much.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
interesting.
For the people that don't really know about the PR game and stuff, and like want to get like more articles written about them, like what's the process like if they like hit you up or something, like getting started and stuff?
Yeah, so we always just like jump on a call just to kind of connect, learn a bit more about each other, just to make sure it's a good fit. Because obviously, I mean, we have the capacity to work with like most people, but obviously you just want to, for your own, reputation management, you want to make sure that you're working with the right people. And then, from there, it's a super simple process. We just have like a client onboarding form where we learn a bit more about their brand, their business, what makes them different. And then we send that to our team of writers. They take care of all that on the back end, gets sent directly to the client. They review it, and then we can send it to our publishing team to send it to, wherever it's getting published.
Gotcha. I feel a lot of, especially influencers, are like lacking on the press, and they don't really take press to their advantage, and like they don't leverage it for other brands. Because I find me and Brendan, we do a great job of getting a lot of press on me, and like I feel like brands really like seeing a public figure that has like a lot of press around them. Helps a lot for brands.
Oh, definitely. I think people, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they in their mind, it's like kind of not there. Like I'm trying to say, it's like underrated by a lot of people, perhaps. They don't think that they need it, but from like a branding, positioning perspective, and also just like, if people do their research on this person, like type their name on Google, and there's maybe nothing there, and like, who is this person? Because even though social media is huge, Google is like, still the most powerful search engine in the world. Like, at least,
100%.
do you guys still use Google to like just look up people?
Oh, all the
Yeah.
time, yeah. And to fill you in, Devon, I don't know if you know, Devon's like an influencer. He's like 3 million followers on
I
TikTok.
know, I've seen.
Yeah.
That's dope. How'd you grow that, by the way?
I was always like want to be an influencer as a kid, but I found TikTok very early, and I knew it was going to be the next like big platform. So I was just making like all types of random videos and just testing different pieces of content. And just like one just took off, and I've just been riding that basically. That's how it started. Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
I feel like a lot of influencers going off of you, like they don't think about like the big picture, and like having press is like the big picture. They're so focused about just like social media and the numbers, and they think they're chilling. But like in reality, you want like the whole thing, like especially the press behind your name and stuff.
Well, exactly. I think diversifying is always a smart option, like in anything that you do. Not having all your eggs in one basket, because like, if Instagram were to disappear tomorrow, how many people do you think would be out of business or be out of, their whole life? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, even with Business Blurb, that's our main platform. So like we have a following on TikTok, but it still would hurt us a lot.
Definitely.
But yeah, going off of that, like, so you said you have a client onboarding call. Do you ever turn down clients and say like, look, like there's nothing here. We can't really like make a story out of this?
Well, yeah, not so much. Look, I mean, I have. I don't want to get into the details too much, but like, I've people have found like I'm not going to say like maybe 3 to 5 people find me through Google like a week, and we'll either book a call or like DM me or something, say, hey, I saw one of your articles, and like I've had people from like countries like Nigeria and like all this stuff just reach out to me about it, and like I don't know anything about them, I don't know anything about their business, so it's like for my own reputation, like I'm gonna and the reputation of the company, obviously, if I can't find anything out about them, they don't really have much of a brand on social media, I'm just gonna steer clear of it and just say it's not a good fit, just purely because I don't know what this person does, right?
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
No.
Yeah. So I guess so when people reach out to you, what's their main goal with their getting featured in the news? Is it like, are they looking for like trying to get verified on social media, or are they just looking to boost their personal brand or online presence? Like, what's the typical like thing they say, I'm doing this because X, Y, and Z?
It's a good question. So I'll give you an example. So yesterday I got on a call with this lady, and she's like, she saw a couple of people in her industry that I've worked with, and she's like, she actually said, I have the biggest FOMO right now. You know, FOMO, fear of missing out?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I have the biggest FOMO right now. She's like, all the people in my industry are like, positioning their brands like this. And so this particular woman, which is quite similar to a lot of people, they genuinely just want that like credibility, that authority, and just being able to leverage social proof, like in their marketing, on their website. Because I think social proof is by far one of the most powerful psychological biases like known to mankind. And people might not think it will make a difference, but like in the long run, like, as simple as like being as seen on your website, right? There's some ads I keep getting hit with by this company. It says like, you get 48% more conversions by saying you've been seen in CBS, NBC. I don't know if it's 48%, but you get what I mean.
No, it definitely works. And like I've seen it firsthand with myself. Like I've gotten just from having like whatever, a Forbes article or an entrepreneur, like I've just seen and got emails and opportunities from those like directly. Like people find me and then they'll be like they'll DM me or something. Actually, funny enough, the kid we had as the first episode on this podcast, his dad found me through the Forbes article, connected me with him, and now we're like buddies, and he interned for business blurb. So it's crazy the opportunities that can really come from these articles, because people do read them.
Oh, definitely. And this is like, I think one of the common myths around PR is like people think that like their article's going to go out and then all of a sudden they're just going to get an influx of leads, but like in reality, that's never really how it works. Maybe in like 1% of cases. But the thing about it is these articles are up there for, a lifetime, essentially. Like, so you can get found a year later. It's like YouTube, right? Like someone searches for something, oh, there's this YouTube thing, and like the video's from 2017, but it's still relevant, and you watch it, then you might connect with that person, right? So it's just like, in my eyes, it's a long-term play. It's never like just for, short-term, just bring in a bunch of leads. It's not a lead gen thing, right? It's like branding, positioning, and like having that, I guess you could call it lead gen in the sense of like over time, people are going to find you through that. They're going to connect with you.
Yeah, but it's definitely not like it's like some people think it's like you're running a Facebook ad and you're going to be getting like calls tomorrow, which is obviously usually not the case.
Correct.
Do you get a lot of people, just out of curiosity, do you get a lot of people that are like wanting to get verified? Because there's this whole thing where, which is true in some sense, that press leads to verification on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. Do you get a lot of people that are like, can you verify me, or will I get guaranteed verification after this?
Yeah, so people do ask me that, but I would never say that I can do it because like I can't. And I mean, press does help, but you have to be in the right places, and a lot of media outlets just don't have that credibility in the eyes of Instagram, right? So I think they've really changed it as well, because actually I met a guy who, funnily enough, just between us, no, I'm kidding. He literally verified thousands of people, right? Like he was like the first person to be like online verifying people. Even, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm not mentioning names, but like even Grant Cardone, right? He did that for him. So it's super interesting. And like, I guess press does play a part of it, but yeah, I mean, if people come to me and say, can you just get me verified? I say no, like it can help, but I'm not saying it's going to get you verified by any means.
I like to say it's a requirement, but
Correct.
It doesn't. It's a requirement to get verified, but it's not a guarantee you're going to get verified. And 99% of the time, you're not going to get verified. Verification's like a tricky slope, and we've worked with some people that know how to and it's interesting because they've gotten stricter and stricter over the time. Like you said, this guy used to be able to verify all these different types of people, and I knew someone similar. It used to be more of like you can know a guy and get verified pretty easily, but now it's a totally different game. You have to know a guy, and even if you know a guy, it's like you're not really, 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 like you really have to be like a big shot to get the chance to be verified on Instagram, especially. TikTok is a little different, in the sense that it's newer and they're just not as strict with it. But I think over time they're gonna do the same thing as Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like every influencer that I talk to that I'm like friends with, that's their main goal. They're like, I want to be verified on Instagram, blah blah blah. But do you work with a lot of influencers or not as much?
Not so much influencers, no. More people who are like, entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, um, small brands, stuff like that. Yeah, influencers is one that could be interesting to explore. But I feel like a lot of influencers don't give you the time of day. If that makes sense. Like if they don't know you or you're not huge on Instagram, they just don't really care. Or maybe that's just my own assumption. But
No,
No,
that
that's
that and I also not a shot at any influencers in particular, but like a lot of influencers just want free stuff. Like I've worked with so many people that are like I can't give you money, but like I could give you like a swipe up or I could give you a shout out. And I'm like, dude, like a shout out means nothing to me. I don't care about followers. I don't care about like this is a money game. Like, and they just don't want to pay necessarily. So I think there's a lot of influencers that don't see the actual value in it, like Devon does. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. But going off of what Devin said, where it's like these influencers, their main goal is to get verified. I kind of think that's like that's really bad that it's come to this. Like if you're an influencer and your main goal in life is to get verified on Instagram, that's kind of a problem. Like it shouldn't come to the point where it's a blue check mark. Yes, it makes you look cool. Like I would love it. It would be great. Like it gives you credibility. It's the same thing as press, but like you got to have bigger goals than getting verified. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just think that's a little
I
crazy.
mean, yeah, it's just a blue little badge right next to your name. It doesn't do anything really. Like,
well, yeah, like I've heard so many people like say that. Well, I've heard this on podcasts, obviously, but like it's never as good as people think. Everyone's like, "Oh, once I get verified, my life is going to change." Blah blah blah. Like Devin, like in your experience, did your life drastically change, or like
no, to be honest, I forget that I'm verified on Instagram. Like sometimes,
must be nice?
like, I just like don't even pay attention to it. It's just like there. It's the same feeling as I mean, like the first second I got it, I was like the most happiest kid ever. I was stoked for that day, but like it's just another day the next day. So
Yeah, it's not going to change your life. The thing it does help with is like getting brand deals and becoming more brand friendly because brands do like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's such an interesting thing, and like I honestly am fascinated by like that our worlds like kind of revolved around blue check marks. Not that we're revolved around it, but like there's so many people that would like die for that thing or pay 10,000. Like there's people that literally pay $10,000 for a blue check mark. Like that's pretty damn shocking to me.
Oh, I've heard people pay a lot more than that, and I think it kind of just boils down to like the world these days and like instant gratification, clout chasing, all these things. People just want to have like a one up on other people, and having that blue check mark, like it's that to them, and they think, oh, I'm better than this other person. It's like an ego thing. I think if you're smart and business savvy, verification is a game changer, right? But if like these influencers are just chasing it just for the clout, it's going to be, as Devin said, like you're just stoked when you get it, but then you realize it's like it's not a very fulfilling thing, right? You haven't like done something amazing, like if that makes sense.
yeah,
I also think it's like when people say it's their main goal, like I just have such a like I feel like that's the worst mindset to have. You're so much better off saying like I'm gonna like yeah, you don't really want to chase followers either, but like you're so much better off being like I'm gonna like blow up. Everybody's gonna know who I am and have an ego in that sense, and then you'll get verified eventually if you're driven enough to the point where you're like I'm gonna make this many people laugh with my content. You're gonna get verified, and congratulations, you're verified. But like if you're chasing a check mark instead of like chasing what you should be with, which is like not that you should be chasing views, but like obviously as an influencer, views and followers is like that shows that you've grown and you're doing something right. But the check mark just comes naturally. It's not something you should be like having nightmares about, which I think a lot of, like, believe it or not, I actually think people like can't sleep at night because they're not verified on Instagram.
I bet.
No, yeah. You said some people pay more than $10,000 for being verified. What's like the highest amount that someone paid?
Well, okay, so I don't know this for a fact, but this is what someone told me, and like they were heavily involved in it, so like I trust them on it, and it was over 6 figures.
What?
What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
That is
That's
insane.
not
But we're talking about heavy hitters here, like people who won't bat an eyelid at 6 figures, not like, yeah. So I've heard people pay like 30 grand. Like one of my buddies actually, oh man, it's so funny. So those two guys who I had the company for, they wanted to get their new business verified on Instagram, which it actually is now, funny enough. And they paid my mate because my mate thought he knew someone who could do it, like 15 grand. And long story short, it was like 4 months. My mate hadn't heard from the guys that he was going to do it. Pretty much like took the money. So then my mate had to fork up the money to pay back the guy. So it was just it was a bit of a shit show.
You gotta be careful. A lot of people scam you for like. Oh.
Yeah, I had somebody that was like trying to get me. It's one of my old like clients. They're like, yeah, we're getting our business verified. You want to hop in? It's like $2 grand just for Instagram. And I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I really don't care that much. And they got scammed out of $2 grand. I'm like, I would have, because I trusted these people, and it wasn't like them. It was like they were trying to get more people, so it's cheaper. But like, I would have been pissed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm glad I didn't do that. But yeah, I cannot believe people are paying 6 figures.
Yeah, probably not anymore. Well, maybe, who knows? But yeah, it's ridiculous. It can make you more money, like in all
Oh
honesty,
yeah,
but
definitely.
yeah, just forking out that much money for it is ridiculous.
It's interesting. The thing with verification is that it just comes down to knowing the right person. It's not necessarily like there's people who are like pretty much. I'm talking about TikTok mostly, but being verified on Instagram, there's people that are like who should be verified and they're not. What is it, like Vinny Hacker's not verified? He's got like a couple million followers, which is kind of crazy, and he just clearly doesn't know the right person. It's all about knowing the right person. And then there's like, I got a buddy who has 3,000 followers, and he's actually 2,000. I think he is like, yeah, literally two, and he's verified. It's like, it's literally just about knowing the right person or getting in touch with somebody who has like portal access with massive ad spend. So it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is.
But yeah, I think this is a good time to wrap it up. I appreciate you coming on, and it was good talking to you.
Yeah, likewise, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure.